In this video, I'm going to try to grow my deposit on the OTC market starting with just $1,000. Let's see, first of all, how many trades it will take me and how much time I'll spend on this. I'm planning to grow my deposit by about 25% each time, sometimes maybe 30 or even 40%. So, let's open the first trade for 25%, that's $267. Let's see how much time and how many trades it will take me to grow the deposit, and what amount I can reach. Let's go! For the next currency pair, I'm choosing Euro-Dollar. I'm switching to BoosterBot, selecting the same currency pair, and setting the trade time to 1 minute. Now I wait for a signal from BoosterBot, get a sell signal, and open a sell trade right from here. Let's break down what parameters we have in this bot and what each of them is responsible for. The very first one is the signal direction. We can have two options, buy or sell, depending, of course, on the market conditions and how the bot analyzes them. The bot can also give a neutral signal. In that case, we simply don't open the trade, and the bot will actually say that it recommends refraining from trading this currency pair. So, there are three possible scenarios. Next, we have the probability of a successful entry. This parameter tells us how likely it is that we can successfully enter a trade right now. Next, I'll show you a little life hack that will help you almost always enter trades successfully. Let's wait for the close and go over the second parameter. I've already made $294 from this trade, which means I've earned 50% profit in just 2 trades. So, I'll be opening the next trade with $390. The next currency pair I'm choosing is Euro-Dollar. I go to the BoosterBot, select the same currency pair, and set the trade time to 1 minute. Now I wait for a signal from the BoosterBot, get a sell signal, and open a sell trade right from here. Let's break down what parameters we have in this bot and what they're responsible for. The very first thing is the direction of the signal. We can have two options, buy or sell, depending, of course, on the market conditions and how the bot analyzes them. The bot can also give a neutral signal. In that case, we simply don't open the trade, and the bot will say directly that it recommends refraining from trading this currency pair. So, there are 3 possible scenarios. Next, we have the probability of a successful entry. This parameter tells us how likely it is that we can successfully enter a trade right now. I'll show you a little life hack next that will help you almost always enter trades successfully. Let's wait for the close and then break down the second parameter. I've already made $294 from this trade, which means I've earned 50% profit in just 2 trades. That's why I'll open my next trade with $390. Let's pick the Euro to US dollar currency pair again and try to make some money on it. Once again, I select 1 minute for the trade, and now I get a buy signal. That can happen too. So, the second parameter, by the way, right now it's showing pretty low percentages, is the probability of a successful entry. In other words, we have this concept called the best entry point. For example, let's say we want to open a buy trade somewhere here, and the bot analyzes this as the best entry point. So, we might have very high volatility, and the price can move both up and down. That's the first scenario. The second scenario is that something unpredictable could happen in the form of volatility, and as a result, the price could make a very sharp move, and we might not have time to open the trade, which would be a loss for us. So, the bot calculates this, and the higher the probability of a successful entry, the safer the trade will be, specifically, the entry itself. But the entry point actually accounts for more than 50% of the trade's overall success. By the way, take a look at this trade. The second win in a row on the same currency pair has already brought me $360. The next trade I'll open will be for $484, which means I've almost doubled my deposit. So, the second parameter is that it's better to open trades, if you don't know how to trade on your own, when the probability is 70% or higher. If it's below 60%, then it's better to skip it. Actually, even the BoosterBot will warn you if the signal is really unfavorable. That's why we look at the direction first, and then we check these percentages. Now, let's open another trade and talk about the third parameter. For the next currency pair, I'm choosing the British pound to US dollar. I'm switching to BoosterBot, selecting this currency pair. Where is it? I don't see it. Here's the currency pair, and the trade duration is also 1 minute. So, I get a buy signal and open a buy trade right from here. The third parameter. This one is actually really important too. It's the probability of a reversal. Yeah, it's one thing that we opened a trade in the right direction. But there's always a chance that the price could move in our direction and then suddenly reverse at some point, and as a result, the trade could close at a loss. Specifically, the trade will close at a loss, so make sure you keep an eye on this parameter as well. It really is very important. So, the higher this value is, the greater the chance that the price will reverse during the analysis period you've chosen. So, I have a feeling that right now the price might close in the wrong direction, and that's exactly when those percentages come into play. Yeah, that seems about right, 45%. So, the entry point was good, the signal was good, but as you can see, the OTC pattern changed and the price went in a completely different direction. Most likely, this will be a loss. Yeah, unfortunately, this trade is a loss. So for the next trade, I'll allow myself to open with $650 on a currency pair with a higher payout to cover this loss. Although, I could even try on the same currency pair, the British pound to the dollar. I'm choosing a 1-minute trade duration. Let's wait and see what the robot tells us. I'm getting a sell signal, but here, the reversal percentages are really high, so I don't want to get any more signals on this currency pair and I'll switch it. I'm switching to the British pound / Japanese yen currency pair. I get a signal and select this currency pair. The trade duration is 1 minute. I'm going to open the trade for $650 now. That's a good buy signal. We can open a buy trade right from here. Look, these percentages, they should be around 40%. So, 40% is basically the maximum. Again, if you're not sure about the trade, if you're not confident in these initial percentages, in the probability of a successful entry. So, if you see a situation where the first percentage is, say, 60% and the second is 35%, then that's a trade you can skip. If you see that the first percentage is 80 and the second is 40, then you can make money here. So, focus on the first number first. If you're unsure about it, then move on to the second one. So here, I see 71, 77 for a successful trade entry. So, my entry into the trade is actually pretty good, and it brings me almost 100 points right away. And, accordingly, I might not take the next points into account, although in reality, they are actually important, like volatility and reversals. I make $600 from this trade and cover my loss. Let's open the next trade again for $650. That's 31%. I'm choosing the currency pair Australian dollar, Swiss franc. I'm also setting the trade time to 1 minute. And let's talk about the third parameter. But first, I want to remind you that you can get this robot right now by following the link in the description. All you need to do is go to the description under this video. Then, activate this robot. You don't need to download anything. You don't need to buy anything. It's available to our whole community. Look, as I mentioned in the previous example, here we have very high percentages for a successful trade entry. So, I don't really pay much attention to these percentages. But I did need to pay attention to the third set of percentages. That's volatility. Volatility doesn't just indicate movement, like many people think, whether the price goes up or down, for example, if the price is going down. Instead, it actually shows the range of that movement. So, it really can drop like that in just a few candles. But our volatility might stay the same. And if the price is constantly moving actively, that's exactly what increased volatility is. So, as we can see, the movement was pretty small. There were only a few points on this currency pair, on this trade, because the volatility was low. So here on the OTC market, it's important for us to have high percentages, high volatility. So, what should we have in terms of percentages? The first crucial parameter should be above 70%. The second important parameter should be above 35%, and ideally, the third one should be above 50%. If all these significant conditions are met and all the percentages are indeed higher than the specific ones you currently see displayed on the screen, you can then confidently proceed to enter the trade. Accordingly, the higher the first percentage, the more reliable the trade will be, and we go from top to bottom. That is, we first pay attention to the first percentages, then to the second, and only then to the third. So, if you're unsure about the first percentage, but you see that, by the way, there's a mistake here, the icon should be less than 35%, right? If, for example, the reversal here is 10% and the volatility is high, then you can confidently open the trade. And the same goes the other way around. I hope that's clear now. It's actually very easy to work with the robot on the OTC market. And as you can see, I made a profit of $1,500. That's plus 150, even 160% to my deposit. You can do exactly the same. I'll leave a link to this robot in the description. So go ahead, activate this bot, and you can start earning with it today. Also, for beginners, let me remind you that in the description you'll find a link to register with the Pocket Option Broker, which we've been working with for a long time using our robot. And, accordingly, we haven't had any problems. We don't break any platform rules, so this robot is quite safe. When you register, you'll get a welcome bonus of 50% added to your deposit. So go ahead and follow the link in the description and register on the platform. With that, I'll say goodbye for now. All useful links are in the description and pinned comment. See you again soon.